just points to this problem that we need to find ways to to integrate. I think what you have created here is an enormous step forward for the tool. It's super cool, and it will unlock every system that has ever been built with MDriven, because it means that we can now add these capabilities to existing running systems in a way that is very difficult to do if you just have code, because then you actually have to program all these things to be understandable. And that's not the case here. So I'm very curious to see how this will turn out in the existing systems that will now be opened to LLM use.
Right. So welcome everyone after summer, and let's get started with some things. I mentioned in the invite that we were going to talk about MCP servers and what we can do with that quite easily. So that's sort of on the far end of I've built the system and I deploy the system and I want to expose my system to an AI. And that's all good and well. But as I did that, it dawned on me that this MCP thing might actually be quite good in the beginning of the process. If I could make the MDriven Designer an MCP server, so that an AI harness of sorts could just use the tools available in the MDriven Designer. So that's currently on experiment. So I want to show you where I am with that, and we can have a discussion if this is a idiotic idea or if it might be good. So basically for both of these samples, I'm going to show both in the beginning of a project where you want to hook up the harness to the MDriven Designer, and also when you have come a bit and you want to hook up the harness to the running system that you've designed. So both of those I'm going to run with this DeepSeek Harness. Basically, what I did to install it was to put this in a command line, npm install /g DeepSeek AI DSH. So that's DeepSeek Harness, I think it's short for. And then it fetches stuff and says that it started on this URL. And so I can navigate to that URL and see the harness, and I can talk to it just like anything. Hello. And so that's on, and that then has the ability to use local tools because it's running locally. Of course, nothing of the actual LLM magic is happening locally, but everything is routed via local. So we can call local services, which is important because let's do something completely new. I'm going to do a new model. I can save that, things that I had. And then this is the new model. I'm going to save that on, let's call this my model 2. And it says there's no classes, but that's okay. And then, just so that I don't destroy anything here, I'm gonna in order to start the MDriven Designer as an MCP tool, I go to the Start menu, and I see the wiki page. And at the bottom here, it says Work in Progress, MCP Server. And when I click that, I get this UI here, asking me to, let's see if I can hide this, to start an MCP server. And I'm going to start that at a port, which isn't taken by something else, 5021, I think. So that would be localhost 5021. And then I'm supposed to say what package I want to work on and what diagram I want to work on. And after that, I should be able to start a server. Now I had a breakpoint there, or one was already running, so it restarted. And then it simply says that now there's an MCP server running on port 5021. Good. So then I can, I don't know why that jumped over there. Then I can go here and yeah, so in order to instruct the harness that there is a MCP server to consume, you have to tell it. And basically what you do in the end is to edit this file, which is somewhere on your drive. And of course, this is impossible to know. So what I ended up doing is, can you make sure that the MCP server on local host 5021 is registered for use. And now it's probably going to think that I'm a bit stupid because I've asked it this before. But I can let it think that, because I know the truth. So it's off doing God knows what, but basically it says that, well, board check, well, it seems fine. Well, good. Yeah, and actually I should probably show, there's another thing called MCP Inspector, which is probably something we should discuss first, because that's a good thing. Where is that? I'm thinking, not. Yeah, let's skip that for now. But there's a good thing called MCP Inspector, which basically lets you point it to any MCP server to inspect what tools it offers. I don't need to do that because everything works perfectly, so I don't need to do anything. Basically, what we can do now is to say, can you add class house? And then it would go off and find a suitable tool. And basically what I did is just to expose OCL and action language as tools. So it's very potent. It can do everything you can do on the meta model. Of course, it's too potent to be practical, because if you can do anything, you can do a lot of things wrong. So every call that we send, or that the LLM sends, we directly return with any errors. So what we will see is that it sort of pings back and forth to figure out what it's doing wrong, and also have calls implemented to give it instructions. So it can ask for hints on how to do certain things. And if it's smart, it asks for the hints and then it does it right the first time. But quite often it's not that smart, so it doesn't ask for the hints and it hammers away a bit to get the job done. But basically what we are could hope to experience is things like add an attribute name.
Have you yet gotten to like give it a prompt to give it some heads up, like think about this?
Oh, yeah, it when you expose the tools, you're supposed to give it instructions on how to use the tools.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also a thing that we do. And in the instructions on how to use the tools, there are further instructions on what to do to get even more instructions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up to it, depending on what it wants to do. So we're going to add a tenant clause and add an association bit. Yeah, and I'm going to be very brief to see if it figures out what I mean. So it did add a thing here. And well, it did the cardinality correct and the naming correct. So that's very good. And for those of you that has followed along since forever, you know that one of the examples that was in the very early days was, I think it was called house and tenants, because you could sort of charge rent and things. But we're not going to do that. But that was what I had in mind when I did this. Add an attribute tenant, attribute name, and hopefully remembers that it should be on the tenant. Yeah, so this is something that I think is quite interesting, that we can do this. So I haven't come very long, but very far, shall I say. But what I want to do is to give the LLM via these tools also access to these high-level functions called vibe information. Because this is like a compound tool that does a lot. So if I can do things like create an inventory system for let's say dragons and their eggs. And during the summer, we have revamped how we call the LLM from within the MDriven Designer, because everyone has a different idea on where to go to fix a prompt to some data. So when we press here, we get up this generic window, which I've shown before at some point, and a generated prompt that can be used to fix this. And now I've set it to manual copy paste, but I can also choose and enter my own API keys to have this done automatically. But when I have the manual I'm supposed to take this and then go to, I'm gonna go to, let's see if I can find the DeepSeek prompt. Oh, here's my, I never know where to go for different things, everything. Let's see if I just go to here. Okay, chat. So I'm just gonna take my copied, okay. And then it sort of gave me a result, which is in a format which the prompt suggested, and hopefully that then can be turned into a model. And it did this, and what the compound tool also did was all of these view models to actually correctly run this thing. So if I save this and head over here to live edit, see if I have a server started, or maybe I should start my local server because I'm not sure if, no, we're gonna do this. Take the latest build. There was some bug that I fixed, but I'm not sure if that is built, but we'll see. I think this would be fine. So what I can say that this copy paste ability is put on all the places where we use the LLM as help. So we can look at the one thing that I think is very practical is the ability to do demo data. And restart this. Now I should have one running on 5020 then. And that should show up here. And since the compound tool did, yeah, this is of course nasty that the compound tool hasn't done the index and then it won't start. So that should be fixed because it would be neat if everything just works. This is good, ensure standard because that does think also the index. No, maybe it doesn't. No. So we need to do an index view model manual, which is bad. And we're gonna remove these. So you're gonna call this index save. So that should be done automatically, I think. Not able to get run because I didn't set a class here. Let's set drag. Doesn't matter. Yeah. So since the compound tool did all of these things with the auto forms and also actions, everything shows up. But of course, we probably don't have any dragons. So then we can use that tool, which I can't remember where I put it.
You need a mother of dragons.
Yeah. So I've forgotten what I should show. There's something here. Charles, do you remember where you do create the demo data?
Yeah, it's normally up there.
It should be here, right?
Yeah,
I need to reread here because it wasn't started correctly.
yes, it's there.
Now it's vibe information from diagram. Okay, then I can pick the diagram 1, which has my dragons and things on it, and then I can vibe information to get some demo data based on that. So I get a prompt, and I should go to my DeepSeek thing. Where is that? It's here. So I put in the prompt here, the original, and then I do that. And then does demo data for me, because that's one of the toughest things in IT, to fantasize what data you should have to test things. Oh, maybe, let's say that didn't parse the, hopefully it survived that. So it says that it's created a few things. Let's see if I got any, did I get any dragons? Yes, good. So that means that I can go here and search for dragons, and I get my dragons. Very good. So now I have demo data. Right. So why do I want to show this? This is old stuff. We have seen this before. Get on with it, you think. And yes, so the reason why I show this old stuff is because now you can point to a view model and say that there's a new thing here, MCPAllowed. This is an issue that I should probably move these. MCPAllowed. So MCP, what's the 3-letter abbreviation for? It's Model Control Protocol or something. So just as we had the UI allowed, which is default true, so we can see something. And we have the rest allowed, which is default false, because you don't want to have tools accessing every UI you build, but you can if you want. And now we have MCPAllowed to say that it would be good if we could expose this as a tool. So what does that mean? Expose it as a tool, you say. What's that? Well, all the buttons that are in the view model will be exposed as tools under the name of the view model. So it will be a Dragon Seeker search tool. And all the read-write parameters or view model columns will be exposed as parameters. So what can we do with that? Now we have, I argue, an MCP server at 5020, if I save this. But so one important aspect of exposing tools to an LLM is to say what the tool does. For that reason, this code comment has been exposed to make it easier. So it has always been there, but it's now easier to access it, and you can write things this tool, search dragons, and also on the button itself, it search will use and the name will be filtered on this parameter, right? Because it's just a view model column, of course. I can save that. Let's add another button to create a new dragon. I don't know where I get these because I don't want them. Sorry. New button. I'm going to say dragon. This was dragons, right? Yes. Create. And call it create. This adds a new dragon. Oops. And now the button is misplaced. I'm going to move the button to there. Okay. Say, right. Let's head back to my prompt. We need to switch tools. Forget about 5021. Now there is a new tool at local host 5020, and that one is called API MCP. Let's see if we can manage to do this. Yeah, man. Yes, help me. Come on. Okay. So this is, it sort of remembers things from before, and those tools aren't available anymore. So maybe I should do a new session. I'm not sure. I can maybe, let's see what it says. Oh, now it says Dragon Seeker. Okay. So show me the dragons. Oh, cool. Sir Puffsalot. Maybe create a new dragon called Hearts. Yeah, now I haven't exposed any way for it to set the name. But let's see what it did. Yeah, browse back. So it hasn't been able to. I'm gonna do cancel on that. Okay.
It said something about if you expose this and that, I can make a dragon called Hans.
Yeah, all right. It instructed me. So
Yes.
yes. So yeah, let's see. What we can do then is to show dragon document, and then on the dragon document we could expose that as an MCP tool as well, and say so I'm going to click that one and head over to say that is MCPAllowed. Let's see. And the dragon document. Just gonna add a something. Yeah, if it's rooted, so I'm trying to figure out what I should write in the documentation for this. But basically, if the view model is rooted, then there will be an automatic tool added for me, which is called fetch, and also an automatic tool added for me, which is called updated or update. Why do we do this? Well, because if it's rooted, it's most likely a document form, and then you most likely want to do changes. So let's see if things magically just work. Added a new tool for that. So that MCP, MDriven Dragon Seeker create. Let's see. Browse back. What about create? That sort of works. Cancel. Are you sure? So that leaves to row. Okay. So maybe I need to so this definitely should be enough.
Seems it managed to create a Hans dragon this time. It just took a
There
while.
was, there was a hand struggle.
There was?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hand struggle.
Oh,
It
All right.
said so in the prompt.
All right, good. Let's see if we can increase the age of the Hans dragon. It should be at least 50 years old. Hans is actually almost, no, is actually 58.
It has to be 580, right? Because dragons are old. I think they look old at least.
And then it says 58. So how cool is this? Basically pretty goddamn cool.
It's very cool. And
Yeah.
then it can take one thing from one and use in another. Is there any way
Yes,
for it
so,
to
so actually that was what it did. It created here and then opened the other one and changed things there. Because you can't change the age here.
Oh, yeah. So does it understand, I mean, what kind of ID does it get on the
Yes,
object?
so all the MCP tools or that has rooted view models get a object ID parameter, which it can set. And it can set it, so, and also all the lists returned have the external ID. So it sort of manages to fix things. And then we can do, well, of course, this is just standard, but let's ask it for, can you sum up the dragon ages? Okay, I don't know, maybe.
You're almost the youngest.
It got me, yeah, almost. And then I'm not sure if DeepSeek has ability to do images. I think. Can you do diagram? I haven't tried it. Okay.
Well,
It's pretty cool.
I have a question for the other thing. Can that one work with view models?
Yes. So
for the designer MCP. I mean,
yeah. So what my idea on that is actually to expose this set of compound tools, and we have two compound tools that are okay for that kind of work. Let's say that I go into this and I want this to have a slightly different design. I can use the compound tool under plan and summary. So this is what the AI did when it created this view model. Manage details on one dragon, including the eggs. And then there are these compound tools that can be used. And this one is vibe information content. And what that does is suggest what to add based on the plan. If there are more things in the model that's not shown on the view, it suggests to add that. And if there are stupid things on the view that it thinks shouldn't be there, it suggests that we should remove those. But to make the design, we will use this one. So basically, when we press this one, we first switch it into placing containers, and then we give a prompt, and then we would head over to I'm gonna take a new chat so it's not confused by what we did. I don't know why it does that. So then I suggest the format on how to express the view, and we paste that in. And then it says that the LLM dropped these columns. So, okay, that's it, I guess. But anyway, this is what it suggests that it should look like instead. I don't. didn't do the wrapping, but and it seems it forgot to do things on the eggs here, so it's not really a table, or it doesn't have any properties on the eggs. Stupid. So maybe we should have asked some other guy instead, like Gemini. Oh, God. No, that was the prompt that went in. I'm gonna use the why GUI design. Yeah, basically what we can do here is press Control Z, because so we're back. If we don't like what we got from the AI, we can always do undo. So I didn't like that. I'm gonna do a new attempt with the Gemini, because I've had better results with that for view models especially. Dragon layout. It thinks, at least. Lars, you have your hand up. Is there a question?
Yes, I meant from the MCP connection, like to
yes.
the tool.
Exactly. So what I was trying to convey was that this kind of tools should be exposed to the designer MCP, so that the prompt towards the design can get this prompt and work on that, and then apply the result in this format, which is a view structure format, which is massaged to actually be understandable for the LLM, because I just think it will be better. So now it did this, and that looks pretty good. Oh, the wrong window. Let me grab that one. These two didn't do the wrapping, but I definitely want wrapping on this. Yay.
Young and playful.
Yeah.
And
then we can create more eggs, I guess. Let's hide advanced edit so we get more screen space.
Because
there's something
I had like a thing that I was thinking of is like, if you then can connect to here, and then it models the things and you can talk to it, and it can one of the powers is that it can, and the LLM has access to like all the other stuff in the world. So what it does is smarter, right, than if before AI, right? It has some understanding of what is expected. So that is great, so that you can ask it to build this. Then another component that would be fantastic in the future. I mean, everything will sort it out ourselves.
Yes,
so I'm just saying in the future. That it can also then, when we work with a framework, that it can actually then create code and integrate other modules and UI components and that. And then looking at Charles, because I think we should, of course, also have an MCP to our main site for developers. So if they connect to that one, you can ask, what are my running systems? And then you can say, please deploy a new version. and then it does the local things, it changes the models, it uploads it, or even creates a new execution instance and just gives you a URL, because that is definitely possible somewhere in the future, which would be like a superpower.
Yeah, because I totally agree that that would be quite doable, and quite powerful to expose the whole deployment stack also, and get, I guess what we can do from the designer perspective is to be able to start things and to apply some styling and
Because
mostly
then you would end up in a situation where you can run your LLM, your AI, and it can pull in general information, your specifics, and then make it into a web app. And that would, in the end, make it possible probably to just talk to the AI. It changes things, you see it. And the most important thing, you don't lose track of your ability to understand it. And it's possible also to read back into the context of the model. Because if you look at how, for example, I guess they all do, but Claude, for example, then creates these like side documents where it keeps its memory. It's like, this is what we're working on. But then every time you run out of context space, right? It compacts it. So sometimes I've had to say, it's like, hey, please read the document again when you compact it. I mean, so you're not like lost half of your intelligence just because it compacted.
Yeah, because this is the exact same problem as we have. The headroom is limited, so we need to isolate to a specific diagram or a specific use case. But then again, that's what makes development hard. We need to zoom into the details that we want, but we can't lose track of the big picture, so we destroy something, or that we reinvent the wheel, which we already did, or something like that. So there's lots of, let's see if it can.
Yeah, and actually having a good, and that's what you're saying here to some degree with the view model, we have to be a bit token wary, so we don't waste too much tokens on nothing. And I asked it, for example, to generate a diagram, an SVG, and then it made that. And then I said, please send it to ClickUp in this case. And then it said, well, I did that, and that took 100,000 tokens. Like, what?
Thank you.
Why did it do that? Well, I converted it to base 64, and then I had to say it one token at a time. So it actually like talked the whole thing one byte at a time, base 64 coding. It's like, well, that's stupid. And then it's like, well, I didn't know what to do. Okay, but don't do that again. You have to find a better way. And then it's like, sorry. But I mean, it just points to this problem that we need to find ways to integrate. I think what you have created here is an enormous step forward for the tool. It's super cool, and it will unlock every system that has ever been built with MDriven, because it means that we can now add these capabilities to existing running systems in a way that is very difficult to do if you just have code, because then you actually have to program all these things to be understandable. And that's not the case here. So I'm very curious to see how this will turn out in the existing systems that will now be opened to LLM use. Very, very powerful.
And I think it's a very good, because we always have a challenge with the entry point. I get a blank canvas, what should I do? But now if we have this MCP harness, that at least it can help you to get started. But then I have it difficult to see that I shouldn't just press Alt A here to add an attribute, that I should write, please add an attribute somewhere else. So I can do both. But the good thing is that for newbies, this is a great entry point to get things done. And there is no additional magic that you need to know about. It's all only model. And that's what you said with the complete documentation.
I can tell, so it gets recorded also, we are planning on how to AI enable our wiki in different ways. And one of them will be that you can now talk to it instead of actually typing. And Edgar, who is not in the meeting now, he demoed a very interesting, it shows up like one of these animated, like it looked like a little ball, like floating in space. When you speak, it vibrates to your voice, and then it speaks back with a very nice woman. So I said to him, it will be very interesting when instead of that, or a compliment to all the efforts that has been made before, that it was you, Hans, who built this thing down to the left to try to make it easier for others to get into it. Now, this way you could just talk to it, and it can actually ask you questions and follow along and do things. And again, you actually can see what is happening, because that's the downside with other non-visual methods of development, that it's very difficult to see what actually got created. So I'm just seeing,
Yeah. So the main
that you don't have to type it actually.
And it has always been a very tough challenge to read code and to get understanding of a system by reading code. That's why you never want to lose a person that that understands the system good, because getting a new person in to read everything and understand it at the same level is very, very hard. So visual explanation of what you need is very good for that purpose. Let's see, how much have I spent now doing this back and forth with my DeepSeek account. So I'm going to show you how it looks. I got this last week, I think, and I've done this development back and forth 1,000 times to get everything to work. And the total cost is almost $1 and 64 million tokens. And that sounds a lot, but if you would have it generate code instead of model, I think this would be 10 times.
Exactly. That's why I talked about this with the model, compact mod, how compact the model is. I wanted to, can I have a follow-up, Hans, on the MCP, both the model one and the other one? And that is in MCP like the standard, if I say so? Is there something called priming or help documents or anything that one can provide?
Yes, so in the standard offers a concept called resources. So I thought that maybe we should just pour out the complete model as resource. Yes. And then I did that. And then it said, actually, not many versions of AI harnesses use resources. And those that do also expect this exact same thing as a tool. Okay. So resources are not actually used. So the problem with the MCP servers is that it's apparently easy to flood them with too many tools. So they get confused that they don't know which tool to use because there are so many. So initially I started doing like a tool for create class, a tool for add an attribute, a tool for this and that. And then, well, this will never work because there's a practical limit for like on 20 tools. So then I just pulled back and was a bit taken that this is impossible. It won't be possible to do anything this way. And then it dawned on me, maybe I can just expose the meta model and have it send in OCL and action language, because it knows a lot about that already. So there's only two tools, OCL and action.
Because what I was getting at is that I initially I didn't have these tools, right? I didn't have this. So I asked it to look at several huge models, and then it could like describe what the model did. So it kind of understands what the whole thing is about.
So what I've seen it do initially when I didn't have good descriptions in the tooling, it sort of deep dive on the disk and reversed engineered everything from the file format and understood how the meta model looked. And from that, it sort of guessed what the OCL should look like and the action language should look like. And that's doable. But as you can see, this graph, this is what I've done today. And I've worked all day basically with the, no, I haven't, at 4 hours with this. But
for 17 cents.
This was when it sort of went rogue on the drive to look for what to do. So that's much more expensive than having it understand things initially.
But will it understand like the point? I mean, if I could like give it also a lot of background information and talking about the project's the purpose and the user base and like, so it has all these other like considerations in how to approach my solution. Can I add that, do you think?
Yes, you can add it. I don't know if it will use it, but basically maybe there's not a limit to have just one tool in your harness. You can have how many or tool servers as you see fit. So you could have using MDriven, you could easily do a project overview tool that describes what that has long text on what the project should be, and then you can expose that as a tool, and then you give that server to your harness as well. So there's we don't have to solve all those things. Since it's easy to build tools and tools can do what you need, I don't see the practical limit.
No, I agree. I mean, the first thing I think one would do in a build like this, after you've gotten it off the ground, you connect it both to the designer and to the executing system MCP points, because then it can look at the data and do things with that.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be
a tool.
so I guess we need to a bit time
All right.
savvy here, but this was a really good discussion, and it's a good start on the new year, so to speak, autumn 2026. So let's keep this. Please make some notes and think about what we can, how we can move this forward, because I think this is sort of a very good entry point for everyone that wants to get closer to MDriven. And also what we should mention is our ambition, Daniel, to go open source with MDriven to increase the adoption base. There should be no one that feels excluded because there will be a fee at some point in the future. Everyone should have access to the technology.
That's very reassuring. I mean, we're running a project that spans over 20-something years now. And in 15 years, I might want to retire. And if I want to open source my code to give it away to the community, I have a problem if MDriven is proprietary. So if that goes open source too, that make my retirement plans easier.
Yes. So we will be open source in the way that it's really easy to see how it works, and you can fork it and do what you want, almost. But we will have a limit on direct competing with the MDriven services and also putting it up as Amazon did with the Elastic, just stealing everything and selling it. So we will not allow that. But besides that, all solutions will be possible to do on your own without payment. And then we hope that people will, or enterprises will still pay us to get support and knowledge and backing.
It's a bit like Red Hat Enterprise Linux and those things where you can get the distro kind of free, but you pay for the support.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because that's the thing that costs anyways.
Yeah. Certainty, kind of. You pay for that.
And also in the open source and with the MCP and all that, I can just mention to Herbert, who is, and if anyone else wants to talk and get MDriven education into schools, you should talk to Herbert. And we will be pushing a lot towards universities. And of course, they should also now include these things about the AI integration. And I'm sure there will be a ton of interesting examples and models and things that will be built upon these new connections. So it will be interesting to see the coming year how this will be used, because still UML is world standard on how to think about object-oriented design, and now when everyone will be questioning how they develop, I hope we will be at the forefront of sayings like, okay, now you can build like 10 times or 100 times faster, and please get this, so you actually still accumulate any knowledge, because that's one of the threats, right? With that, no one knows anything anymore. And so we still need to educate humans, not only AI.
And we're gonna.
Well, sorry. In the long run, the AI will need fresh training data, and unless the humans knows their stuff, there will be nothing to train on. So you will have the destructive feedback loop where the AI eventually gets some kind of amnesia and forgets too, and then we're into really big trouble.
Yeah, idiocracy.
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
Yeah. Thank you very much for tonight, and see you in 4 weeks-ish.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you for demoing, Hans.
Bye.